Welcome everybody to the newest AMA on the Spintop YouTube channel. Today we have TheGreyTaichou from Samurai Legends, also known as Andy. So thank you for coming today with us. Thank you, Justin, for being today with me. It's a pleasure to have both of you here. So first of all, Andy, if you want, would you like to introduce yourself and just let us know why are you interested in the blockchain gaming and or in gamify basically?
Sure. So thank you for having me, first of all. Personally, I entered this space interested mostly into just trading and to, earning money in that way. That was my first interest and my first idea of entering the space. But once I discovered play to earn, that's the first time when I actually got interested into what this space is all about and what the actual products are, what the projects are. And when I first started to experience and learn how all these, Telegram groups, communities, how all they work, what they are for, and how you can actually communicate with the developers, how you can get into contact with them, give your own ideas, and actually put a mark on the project itself. And that's basically also how I entered the space, as in started working for Samurai Legends. I kind of exploded with ideas and things that could be done and could be developed and could be part of the whole ecosystem. And the developers kind of got intrigued, and I got offered a place to work on the project. And well, today I'm part of the core team. So there you go.
Thank you. That's very nice. So you talked about Samurai Legends. Why do you think people should know about Samurai Legends, and what is it exactly? If you want, you can try to summarize it quickly so we go with the next questions.
Definitely. So when it comes to Samurai Legends, its ecosystem and its game, it's at this stage, it's very, very difficult to summarize it too short, but I'll really try. So basically, Samurai Legends, its core, once the whole game will be out, is basically a free-to-play. So this is a mouthful. Yeah, it's a free-to-play grand strategy MMORPG role-playing metaverse, which is set in feudal Japan during the samurai Edo period, basically. So what you can do within that game is PvP battles, PvE battles. You can build, you can strategize, you can do tactics, you can engage in politics, in diplomacy with other real people, with other real players. And you can get through that you can gain influence within the game and basically put a mark within the entire world and be, someone of political stature or economical stature, or just someone who actually controls and rules other people, basically. So within the game, there is exploration, there is, doing quests, different tasks, there is your own character development, there is the development of each individual unit within the game, which are NFTs. Then you have, different kinds of battles. Then you have creating clans and guilds, which can be massive in numbers. And of course, what this space is all about, there is a monetary value to be gained from all this. So yeah, that's what I would say is Samurai Legends in short.
Okay, thank you. So now just going with about the game or the metaverse, we're going to go more deep into it. So first and quickly, you already said it, but whenever I find the Samurai Legends on the Gamepedia, for example, people want to know, is it free to play? Or if it is free to play, do I need something else to play it? Or how can I start playing? Basically, that's the question.
Okay, so currently at the current stages, what we have is our beta game, which is Samurai Rising, which is our first, basically beta game of our ecosystem, of our play turn ecosystem, which started back in September, I believe. Yeah, in September, and has been giving out rewards ever since. that is what we have currently. But what we are developing with Samurai Legends, okay. I skipped the part. For Samurai Rising, basically what you need in order to play currently is you need one NFT. Best would be to have 5 NFTs, which is required to play the game, but the system gives you up to 4 NFTs in order to play. So as a free-to-play player, you cannot play unless you are a scholar or unless you have a scholarship. So someone else gives you their own NFTs and lets you play their own account, and then you split the profits. That would be the current free-to-play scenario. While in Samurai Legends in the future, once the whole ecosystem, once the metaverse is live, once you can play the game, basically, you have, as a free-to-play player, you get, actually each player starts kind of as a free-to-play player because each player gets their own character NFT, which is free at first, but once you kind of develop and you start investing more, you can get more from your NFT. You can get more, collectibles. You can get more specifics of how your NFT looks like, and cosmetics in that sense. But as a free-to-play player, you can still play the game. You can explore. You can do basic battles. You can also do trading. Your yield would be somewhat limited, but it wouldn't be zero. Obviously, the more you invest, the more possible yields you can have.
Okay, thank you. You mentioned it before that you based the Samurai Legends on Japan, on the Samurai Idol era. Why did you decide to create a game based on the country? And I'm curious about, are there some Easter eggs? I don't know. The first thing that came to my mind are the Nara deers. Will I be able to see the Nara deers on the game?
Yeah, okay, interesting question. So why the country of Japan? So first of all, I personally, and not just me, but the rest of the team, find Japan, and especially that era, very, very fascinating. There is this thing called Bushido Code, which is very specific for the samurais during that time, where they basically, if you would describe it from a Western standpoint, that would be like the knights of Asia or knights of Japan. So they had this code where they would, honor, courage, being nice, being loyal, self-control, being disciplined, and those type of things, and doing good. And that era, and the honor type discipline, what is still present, for example, in today's time in Japan, makes them a very, very unique culture, and very, very disciplined, and very, very hardworking people. So, in general, about the Easter eggs, it's definitely a possibility. I'm not sure about the deers though, but there could definitely be Easter eggs. It's actually something that we did discuss a couple of times. We do want to include some kind of relatable things from real life, possibly crypto, but we do want to keep it like themed to that era. So it will be somewhat difficult how to involve these type of things. And we also do want to involve our community. So if the community wants to have a mark on the game, have their own input, have potentially something, an NPC within the game that could say, it could come from the community. So we do want that type of involvement.
Okay. So I can imagine that there won't be a Godzilla on the game, but something from the era, it could be there. That's what I think. Now, talking about the samurais, can you explain what are they, the samurai NFTs? I also know that there are generals. Do we need a general to start playing, or no?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so first of all, the general is basically the Genesis version of the NFTs, the first NFTs that we started with. There will always only be 5,000 of them. So they're a kind of a limited edition. And you don't need them to play the game. They do have their own benefits, even currently. Like they have increased yields, and they also give you more potential games that you can play per day. and so they have more value to them. But in the future, once the full game of Samurai Legends is out, they're going to be even more beneficial. They're going to have a unique skill that will be beneficial in the game, but they are not required to play the game, basically. So the samurais, they are the second generation of NFTs, and they basically are the same like generals, but they don't have these unique abilities, and they are the basic combat unit that we have in our ecosystem that we started with. And we even had before, we were using a recruitment system, which was kind of similar to what other breeding systems were out there with play to earn games. It was very different, but it was, you know, in similar principle. You would just lock a couple of NFTs, couple of samurais, and then you would get a new one. It would be like a gacha mechanic, a random one. That is not part of the ecosystem anymore. You cannot breed or recruit any more NFTs. Currently, you can only purchase them in the markets, or you can buy limited edition ones or flash sales that we are kind of having every few weeks. But those are different units, actually, in fact. So to be honest, there is a big list of NFTs and units that are going to be part of the ecosystem, part of the Samurai Legends world. So to put them in two groups, you have the non-combat ones and the combat ones. So the combat ones are so the samurai and the generals that you have already mentioned. Then you have the samurai archer, you have monk, you have ninjas, you have geishas, you have hatamoto. So each one of those are going to be currently, they can be played in Samurai Rising game, just the same way as all the other NFTs. But in future, in Samurai Legends, each one of them is going to have a unique set of skills and unique way of using them, basically in game. Not just in combat scenarios, but even outside combat scenarios. So some are actually going to be required in order to be able to move on the map, for example. Okay. And then on the other side, you have non-combat units, which are also extremely significant because they are each one like farmer, fisherman, runner, laborer, blacksmith, mystic, artisan, carpenter. So there's a lot of them, and each one of them is going to have unique set of skills, unique utility actually in the game. So some are going to be farming your yields, for example. Some are going to be farming other resources. Some are going to be constructing buildings. Some are going to be creating weapons and armor for your soldiers, for your units, and and so on. So in consumables, yeah, there is a lot of different NFTs within the game. So yeah, combat and non-combat. But actually, the very interesting part of the combat units within the ecosystem, which will be introduced sometimes short in the future, is so not just that you have non-combat and combat units, you also have high tier and low tier units. And what is significant about these two is that the high tier units are the classical NFTs that you do not lose, that just stay forever. And then you have the low tier units, which are actually will die if they are killed in battle, for example. So they are basically consumables, and they are also required for certain tasks because only those type of units can perform them. So it will be a very unique gameplay and a unique way that you need to strategize how to invest and how to control your units and how to risk with your units, because all your units in certain scenarios are going to be at risk at any time, at any point in the game. And yeah, I've already mentioned the consumables, which are also going to be NFTs, and then the weapons and armor. Then there's going to be relics and artifacts, which are going to give you like boosts, different kinds of boosts. It could be, immediate boosts. It could be like, consumables are also required to be able to move on the map because, that's kind of a upkeep for your armies and for your troops moving around the map and doing their tasks. and weapons relics I've already mentioned. And then we're also going to have pets, which are also going to give bonuses to your armies. So a lot of stuff coming, a lot of interesting stuff.
You mentioned that there are a lot of NFTs, but I think that there's even more NFTs because there is a land NFTs, right?
Yeah, that's the one I forgot. That's the one I forgot.
What are the lands basically?
So basically, the lands that you can purchase, are part of the inner outer provinces within the game. So within the game world, which is basically the map of Japan, you have provinces which are PvE provinces, which are the ones that you can purchase. And then those are the smaller areas. And then you have the big area, which is the PvP area. And these are the provinces and the lands that are going to be constantly fought over and constantly going to be, in constant conflict. And, players and guilds and everyone's going to try to amass and get as many as they can and control as many as they can, because those provinces are going to have much bigger yields than the ones that you can purchase. The interesting part about the land NFTs, so the ones that you can buy, are basically the smallest, when it comes to size, the smallest part of land, which are called showens. Those are basically the lands where you do most this building, most the structures, most the farming. These and many of these constitute of a bigger part of land, which is called Han, and that Han then many Hans constitute of a province, basically. So a province constitutes a lot of Hans, which each constitutes a lot of showens, and then each one of these are areas that you can move onto. So if you would put it on as a landscape for all the players that are moving, it would be a huge area that you're kind of basically moving on in real time. So all players are moving on the map in real time.
Okay. You now, like, the Samurai Legends is a metaverse, right? You mentioned it a lot of times right now. Will I be able to use my samurais or my NFTs on other metaverses, or people from other games that have I don't know, I was going to say an Axie, but an Axie on Japan isn't very good. But if I have an Axie, for example, can I use it on the metaverse in the future, or how will it work?
That's actually a very interesting question. So since we kind of want to have this to be a themed, unique universe where everything is Japan themed in the feudal ages of Japan, with samurai and everything related to them, it would be a kind of weird if there would be Axies, or I don't know, Super Mario, or if you had, I don't know, Marines with machine guns shooting, which would kind of make it weird. But if maybe in the future that could be a possibility. I mean, I don't want to say never, you never say never. So maybe in the future that could be a thing, a Samurai Legends 2.0, maybe, who knows?
Okay. Thank you. Now we're going to go about the PvP and the PvE part of the game. I'll let Justin ask those questions. So please, Justin, go ahead.
Yep, thank you. So could you elaborate on how users can monetize through the platform and the PvP and the PvE versions of the game?
Sure. So there are actually many ways that you can monetize within the ecosystem. Starting off right now, that would be through Samurai Rising. So by playing Samurai Rising, you get to play and earn Koku points, which can be transferred into Koku, which is our reward token. Basically, each week, 1 million SMG is given to the play to earn for Samurai Rising currently, which transfers based on the Samurai SMG value, transfers to Koku, which is currently, because of the system that we have, Koku is a stable coin. So Koku is always going to be 0.04 And depending on what the SMG is, that's how much rewards are going to be each week. The higher the value as SMG, the more rewards are going to be. So that's the first thing. Second thing, we got different variations of staking. So we got our basic SMG staking, then we have liquidity staking. These are within the platform. But in the future, when when the full concept is live, there's going to be a lot more ways that you can get yields within the game. So, and this is also related to how you can actually be part of the ecosystem, how you can participate within the game. So the game itself is massive. The game itself requires, I mean, not that it requires, but the things that you can do within the game. And in order to progress within the game, you kind of have to do the higher you progress, the higher you are within the hierarchy in the world, you need to do more stuff, basically. But you can always do just one thing. You could be interested in, for example, you could be just the guy that farms. So you could have, in the outer provinces, you can just have a few lands and you can just build and collect yields, and you're just enjoying your, Sim City kind of way of playing the game. You could also be interested in only competitive play. So you could be completely focused on doing battles. So you could be doing, which I expect that we will be having a kind of arena type separate of the main game, where people can battle each other and combat each other and test their skills and to see who's the best in just the combat system, which is I don't think I've talked about it, but it will be a bit complex and very unique in itself. So that's one thing. And in order to actually be good with that game, you do need skill, and this is something that we are very interested in, very passionate about, that we don't want to make the game purely pay to win. So skill has to play a huge element in the game. So someone who has, I don't know, the best NFTs and has the best armor, best items and everything, can still lose to someone who just started playing. And I think that's very, very important, not to be a pay to win game, because that kind of gets dull very, very fast. So skill is very, very important part of the games, because every game that is popular today has to be competitive, has to have that competitive element. So yeah, basically that's very, very important. So this is when it comes to PvP. But now when it comes to PvE, which was other part of your question, as I was saying, so someone can do in outer provinces can just be doing buildings, can be a farmer, could be just someone who performs tasks for others. So there's going to be within the game a system where a board where you're gonna, as a landowner, for example, and you control a lot of lands, and you're not able to perform all the tasks on your own, or you don't have the time, so you're going to put different type of tasks from maintenance tasks, from different PvE, I don't know, fighting monsters, fighting rogues, fighting thieves, fighting some other PvE units within the game. You can put tasks which other people can just click and accept and get a payment for it. So you could be just kind of a mercenary for hire, which can be PvE related, but can also be PvP related. You could also be part of the big mercenary gang that is going to be joining the very conflicting provinces, where there's going to be a lot of different wars, and all these mercenaries are going to enter, and they're going to join the the guy who pays the most, basically. Or maybe they can join all sides and fight for each side at the same time. So different angles and different ways you can play the game, PvP and PvE, kind of.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
I love those aspects when you play a game and you level up your character, basically, and you also level up yourself as you get your more muscle memory, and you play better, and you
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So
exactly.
With the next question, we will be launching the Spintop Guild Maker, and this brings a question: will it be possible to rent NFTs?
It would definitely be very possible. The thing is, what we are trying to implement within the game is to be everything within the game, within, yeah, not just the ecosystem, but within actual the game. So the classic scholarship that we already have with Samurai Rising, which are kind of outside the game, the deals are being made outside the game, and someone just shares the game, and then you play for them, and then they give you a cut. But it's, you never know, and something we cannot control is if that person is actually going to pay, because that's outside the ecosystem, and our hands are tied basically. But if we do it within the game, within the world, and we set the parameters, which can be as flexible as we want, you can be, as I said, a mercenary for hire basically, or just doing a task, which can be, I don't know, from 5 minutes to I don't know, a couple of hours, something that you need to perform, and you can be done in 5 minutes and already get some money, basically just getting paid for work in that sense. And but to your question, would it be possible with Spintop Guildmaker? I did check out to see what it is and what what you guys are doing, what you guys have, and I did read something about it, but I'm not sure if it would be adjustable within the game. It could potentially be what you guys could potentially be doing is a guild outside, which is still possible, and then do all these deals still outside, but you do them within the game. So I don't see, in that sense, it would still be possible, I guess.
We'll see what future brings us. And
Definitely.
on the tokenomics side, as you mentioned, you have Koku and SMG as tokens, and Koku will be a stable token. Could you elaborate on the utilities other than playing in the game, like the staking programs maybe, and some other utilities?
Definitely. So SMG is our governing token. The thing that I'm super excited, we already are doing it, is SMG is also part of as a governing token. It's literally a governing token because we have our own governing council, which gets to decide how the ecosystem to some degree, how the ecosystem works, and the council, which is a community-based council, basically, it's actually half team, half community-based, and the community people that are within the council are chosen with election. We already had our council, and it's performing really, really well. We are doing our meetings and everything kind of live, and everything can be checked out. It's on Discord, and then you have recaps and everything, so that you can get to see what everyone is doing. And we do get to decide how the ecosystem is going to evolve. So, for example, we decided that one of the utilities that are part of SMG is purchasing of limited edition NFTs that we do every 1 month, and we also do flash sales for certain new NFTs that we're introducing to the ecosystem and to the current ecosystem, which can be purchased by SMG. And what we have actually voted on and decided that the SMG that is being used for purchasing those NFTs is being burned. So there is a deflationary element to it. And there is also going to be, in the future, there's going to be other special content which can be purchased, and other land sales in the future. Another very important utility for SMG is for the trading and our own marketplace, which is supposed to be coming out very, very soon, probably this month, if I am not mistaken. And I'm really looking forward to it because it's going to have a cool design. It's going to be really, really cool. Those would be the SMG utility. The Koku utility, well, this is the interesting part, because Koku within our game, it will be used in a very, very specific way. So I do have to say, in order to elaborate, I need to say what Koku actually stands for and what it actually is. So Koku, during the feudal age of Japan, was a currency, and it was literally a pile of rice. So the currency during that time was food, was rice. And the more rice you had, the more rice you were farming, and the more land rice farms you had, the stronger you were during that time, during that feudal age. So those landowners were called daimyo. And the stronger you were, the more fields you had, the more wealth you had, basically. So in that sense, since within our game, its own economy, which will be related to Coco itself, to the currency, which is something that you're going to be farming, basically, will be very relatable to all the other resources within the game. And there is going to be a lot of resources, a lot of different resources, and basically also the consumable, which is the upkeep, which I've already mentioned, is food. So you need to feed your troops, and it's also Coco, which is at the same time your reward token. So a very, very complex economy within the game, which is related to the reward token in order to be able to do everything within the game. So in short, for all the old utilities of Coco would be, so basically for consumables, for all the resource trading, then you will have for the upgrades and progression of your player character, of unit characters, then for power-ups and cosmetics and other consumables. So for your cosmetics, for basically for your player character, but also for your something that I didn't mention, that your player character actually carries his own land with him at all times, which is the base camp of you, where you keep all your trophies, where you keep all where you actually keep your troops if you're moving with them, where you keep resources, items, consumables. Everything is within the camp, which can be visible within the camp. And you can also make you can make your camp look much nicer. You can have different cosmetics, different things that you can have. Then there's going to be for unlocking different contents, like forming of guilds, for example, and other things. I think I've summed up the basics, but the whole economy of Coco, how it will be working within the game, is a very, very complex system. And at the time, I cannot say too much more, but I am looking forward to say more, basically.
All right, thank you. So before going to the community questions, I have one last question about the security. Who's performing the audits, and how do you plan preventing the fraudulent use of the NFTs, basically cheating in game?
Okay, sure. So Haken did our audits. That answers the first question. When it comes to the anti-cheating, so this is the interesting thing, and I've been asking myself this question from the beginning, ever since we started the play to earn ecosystem, ever since we started our Samurai Rising game, because I've seen in other games, like, I don't know, like Axie, for example, that there is a lot of cheaters, and there is a lot of a lot of botting and stuff like that, and playing on multiple accounts. I mean, I've seen pictures when guys play when they have like 20 accounts open at the same time and just playing them with a bot. So that is definitely a concern. And that is definitely a problem. But to be honest, when it comes to Samurai Legends and it's I would say vast complexity, I didn't get to talk about the game, the battle sequence, the way it works. I can actually show you. Okay, once I answer the question, I can actually show you the trailer that we have that has been published for a while for the upcoming Samurai Legends game, which kind of shows, it's more of a teaser than a trailer, which shows how the entire world is going to work and how the battle system is going to work and how everything is going to work and basically how it's going to look like. So in short, I don't think cheating is going to be a problem in Samurai Legends, basically.
Okay, thank you. So the first community question is about the currencies. Well, you already answered everything, but people want to know. They ask a lot of things. So Coco is a semi-stable currency because of the trading algorithm. You already said it, and it will balance itself with the liquidity pool and the price of the SMG. So how did you find the solution in case of an increase in Coco inflation, and how will the SMG will be affected by the inflation?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. So first of all, the current system has been put in place with Koku being a stable coin, in order to control the inflation, basically, because if we the system was put in place, and also we introduced the idea of having a limited amount of rewards each week in order to control the output. Because if we didn't, we would be in a similar situation like all the other projects that are kind of failing right now or don't even exist anymore. That's part of the first question. The second question: how to control in the future when the full-fledged game is live, then Koku will not be a stable coin anymore. It will be a tradable currency, just like SMG. But in order to control the inflation, and this is very, very important and not so easy to explain, is the in-game economy in the in-game world and the way the game is going to be played is going to be an extremely heavy conflict, competitive gameplay within the world. And this is probably the most important part of our game, and the most interesting part of the game is the way that we have structured the idea behind it, and which is based on the player progression system, basically. So the way the players progress within the game is, so they start as free-to-play players, and if they want to progress more, then they have to invest. And then as a free-to-play player, you start as a nobleman, which is a free-to-play player, and then you invest, and then you pass certain quests, you do some tasks, and you can advance to the samurai level, which is the standard level where most players are going to be. But in order to control, for example, lands and big parts of lands, as I've already mentioned before, so the Hans and provinces, which consists of many, many lands within, you need to be able to control not just that, but you need to be controlling other people, because you control a big chunk of land, and then you have a bunch of landowners within the game, so you need to tell them what to do. Or, if they don't follow you, if they don't listen to you, then you kind of have the power, if you also have the military power, to kick them off those lands. We're talking about the inner provinces, obviously. The outer provinces are different. The outer provinces cannot be lost. So this creates an interesting dynamic. But not just this, there is another thing that we're introducing, and that is the taxation system, which is also very related to the hierarchy and the player progression. So from nobleman to samurai, and then from samurai to daimyo, which are the landowners, and then which are limited, obviously. To be a daimyo, you need to be a landowner, and that number is based on the amount of lands that you have within the world. So that number is limited. And then you have so for the daimyos are for the Hans, but then you have provinces which consist of many, many Hans, and they're even less in number. And then you have those, let's call them advanced daimyos, that control other daimyo. And then all these daimyo, in the end, answer to the one player in the game, the shogun, who controls everything. I mean, in a sense, he is the guy, the main hunter, the guy at the top. He's the ruler of everything, which is also something that is being achieved. It's just something that can change, just like, historically speaking, in that time, shogun was dethroned several times and by military power. And that's the same thing we are expecting here, with all the vast number of players that are going to be playing and the guilds that are going to be participating, and then forming alliances and fighting each other in order to control and to get to the top, even the daimyo, of course. It will require a lot of struggle, a lot of conflicts, a lot of battle, and in that sense, a lot of reinvestment, and not just reinvestment in tokens, but also in NFTs. So the more, the stronger opponent gets, you need to get stronger as well. So the constant reinvestment in order and struggle constantly for power, basically. And then the shogun, which is at the top, something that I've mentioned, is the taxation system. So all the landowners, the smallest one, So the way the taxation system works, just like the hierarchy, is like a pyramid. So the smallest landowners answer to the higher landowners. So the Shogun and the Hans answer to the province owners, and then the province owners answer to the Shogun. So the Shogun, who controls everything, can change the taxes within the entire world and can force others to pay more. And in effect, if that happens, we would expect that others are going to rebel and they're going to try to dethrone him. And that creates this crazy, really interesting dynamic where everyone's going to try to be shogun and then try to keep that position. And the same goes for each level of daimyo. And that's the cool thing, which makes our game, and what we expect is going to constitute a very long-term game that is going to keep the economy and basically tokens in check.
Okay.
Yep, sounds really fun. Go with the second. Language is an issue for some crypto enthusiasts. We all know many projects that support English-speaking communities. So, do you plan to use local communities to raise awareness of the project among people in different countries?
Definitely we do. Definitely we do. We already have different, different language speaking communities already. I believe we have Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese. What else? What else? What else? I know that we have more. Italian. There we go. Italian. And we also have Japanese, Indonesian. So, and we do expand. We plan to expand, and we plan to, definitely work more on the smaller communities and to work on those markets as well, when the time arrives, of course.
Okay, thank you. Now with the next question, Samurai Legends is a GameFi feudal Japan. Okay. However, will the game be attractive to only those that are familiar with the Japanese culture? Do you have any plan of extending to non-Japanese communities?
Well, first of all, I don't think that since it's based in Japan, I don't think just because it's based in Japan that it will be less interesting for other communities. To be honest, I personally like the Japanese culture. I'm a huge anime fan. I've watched probably too many to admit, but I think especially today, Japanese culture and all their games, for example. I mean, games are played worldwide. So just because it's Japanese themed and samurai themed, I don't think it's going to be relatable only to Japanese people. It's actually, to be honest, Europeans are very relatable and very liking the Japanese culture and the way of the samurai. So,
okay,
you do. All right.
Thank you.
Some blockchain games require a high-performance platform to really enjoy the game. Now, does the Samurai Legends game have system requirements? Do I need a high-spec device before enjoying the game?
Okay, that's an interesting question. I don't think you need high spec. I don't think that you do. Since the thing that I am not able to relate is because I don't know if I should say old school, but I like to do everything on my PC. I'm not very relatable when it comes to mobile. And our game is going to be playable, on mobiles and PC alike, through browsers. But what I did notice, though, that certain devices have problems for some reason. Not sure why. It's always relatable to the software that is, either Android or iPhone. It's relatable to them, and once they make, for example, an update, it becomes a problem. But when it comes in terms of hardware, I wouldn't say that it will require high tech.
Okay, thank you. Will it be playable on iOS and Android?
Through browser. So it's a browser game.
Okay. So now with the last question, it's the one for you to tell something that we may not know. Is there any precious information that hasn't yet been made public, and you maybe can give us a sneak peek? maybe some sex listing or something similar. I don't know. Just feel free to tell what you can. If you cannot, just don't say it. We don't want to give you problems.
Okay. Let me think if there is something that is not known. I do tend to leak stuff, to be honest. But at the moment, well, I can tell you that we started producing teasers, like short teasers for each NFT, for example, for new NFTs. We are starting campaigns for different kinds of videos, which are going to be tutorial themed, which can be relatable to the ecosystem or to the game itself. We do plan to have, since the game is going to be is really complex, and it will be required to have. I mean, once we started developing it, I said this game is going to require a manual. So it will definitely be cool to have video content which will help you start and help you learn everything that you need to know. So that's something that we are starting very soon. And I believe we actually did start already. We do have teasers, which are going to be for different type of content. And we are going to be making, I believe, 2 trailers. One is going to show the first look of the metaverse, the first time that all the players are going to meet, which is going to be in the capital city, which will be the first merge of the outside ecosystem with the metaverse, with the game itself. So everything that you're doing, from staking, from battling, will be within the game. So that's first thing. And second thing, what we are going to be, what we are making a trailer for the story. So the trailer for the story of the game, and which we tend to, which we're planning to have within the game through the entire progression of all the players of you within the game. And I'm really looking forward to how that's gonna look like.
Okay, so thank you for answering all of our questions. Maybe there are more questions that hasn't been answered, so just please go to the Discord channel or to the Telegram channel of Samurai Legends. They will answer everything, or just come to the Spintop YouTube, join Discord channel and Telegram. We'll answer everything that we can to. And I think that's it. Thank you for joining us today. It has been a pleasure.
Likewise.
We enjoyed a lot the AMA. So I think we can wrap it up here and say goodbye and see you next time, unless there's something else you want to say.
Yeah, well, you basically already said it. Just join the Telegram and Discord group, ask as many questions as you like. The community is very helpful. We have a really cool community, and the devs are always there, me included, answering all the questions and listening to all the ideas. People don't realize, but every single idea is noticed, and every single idea is being actually thought about. So I know that from experience.
So that's it. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Andy. Bye-bye, and see you next time. Bye.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.